Robert on there. My chat. Hold on, I think I saw Robert. Give me 1 second, Robert. No, Robert. Here's Robert. Welcome, Robert. Let me move my microphone right here. Which one are you? Pencil. Should improve now. Oh yeah, we saw him. Just had my other phone, so I can get the Discord. It's called the Discord post. And I forgot my pencil. Shout out Robert G, friend of the program. Yeah, we saw your pictures on Discord. Appreciate those posts. And welcome everyone to Dad's Workshop special edition. Well, actually, this is a normal Wednesday edition, I suppose, a little late. Right now, we're actually going to be designing a floating waterfall table. Floating waterfall table is going to be made with some conventional lumber. I haven't decided which dimensions I'm going to use yet. I probably will use some old conventional lumber, and then I'm going to order a piece of 3/4 inch thick plexiglass, and I'm going to draw up what it's going to look like using old school analog technique, which is a piece of paper and a pencil. I'll sketch it out on this graph paper, and then I will show you all to the camera, and we'll talk about, you know, another way I can sketch this up, like free, what do you call it, CAD software that I'm going to use to do this. Right now my streaming capabilities are such that like I can't stream a second screen, so that's another thing I need to look into. But yeah, so floating waterfall table.
You're super low. I'm checking your mic. I can hear that it's not on.
Oh, okay. It's not on. Sorry about that. Better? No?
Not yet.
Light here. My light is solid. Just.
Oh. Lighting it first.
Good. Can you grab me that ruler right there? I think the positioning for the mic's probably pretty good where it is.
Yeah, I agree. You sound good. You could just hear that AC over it.
Yeah. See, these boxes are like, look like they're half. These are in English measurements, 1/4 inches each, 1/4 inch.
They might be bin store boxes. Well,
No,
real
they're
basics.
they're exactly a 1/4 inch.
Robert, you said sounds good. You good?
Yeah, I think so. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So if I want to make this surface 48 inches, then each one of these little boxes represents 24 boxes equals 48 inches. Each one of these boxes is approximately 2 inches. So I think typically coffee tables are 16 inches off the ground, so but I can adjust that if necessary. So as I draw this line here downward, I'm going to say that if one box equals 2 inches, then that means this is 8 boxes down here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the thickness, see, the thickness is probably going to be a 1/2 inch. So it would be 1/4 of a box, approximately. If it was 1 inch thick, we'll call it 1 inch thick, which would be 1/2 a box. It's gonna be tough to get this exactly right, but I might be able to do it with a just want you all to get the idea. Well, I'm sure you can Google this and find out what it is exactly, but what we want to build is a floating waterfall table. And I'm going to do it with conventional lumber, and I'm thinking about making a zag cut at the end so the surface has a unique shape. This is about 16 inches because coffee tables, I believe, usually sit at about 16 inches. This would be up 16 inches and then over 48 inches. And that's basically what you would see. Would be this L shape, right? But what's hidden is a piece of plexi that's approximately 16 inches deep, or the entire height of the leg, and goes over, it's got to go over, I don't know, probably 36 inches. So that would mean 18 boxes. Starting, I mean, you could start it right away. Probably that's the idea, is to start it right close to that main leg, or to actually route in the main leg, which means I would have to draw another picture here. So I'm thinking it probably needs to be, the plexi is going to be 3/4 inch wide, and I think it needs to be about 3 feet long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You're not going to really see this though, because this piece of plexi right here will actually be invisible. So what you're really going to see is this table with a floating edge. It's going to look like it has no visible means of support, as long as your plexi is not scratched up and polished off. So that's the idea here with this floating waterfall table. Plexi would be 16 inches high, or approximately 16 inches high, by 3/4 inch in width, right? By 36 inches long. (16 inches in height by 3/4 inch width by 36 inches in length. But not really visible, hopefully, because it's going to sit right into, it's going to be routed, there's going to be a piece routed into the top. 1 inch thick would be the ideal thickness of the top, and 1 inch thick would be the ideal thickness of the leg. That's what I'm looking for this table. And what you're going to really see is going to be the L shape of the outside of the table. And next thing to do would be draw a top view or a bottom view. So I'll probably do a bottom view here. I didn't determine how wide the top surface is going to be. But generally with like a coffee table, you gotta, yeah, we're gonna try to build a waterfall table here. Chardonnay, welcome. Chardonnay, big time friend of the program. Sorry, it's a little bit slow of a night. Just got back from, I had my sons for the weekend, Monday and Tuesday. They were off of school. Welcome, Chardonnay. Glad you stopped in. Yeah, I'm working on right here. Chardonnay is basically waterfall table, floating waterfall table here. I'm not going to do the resin because I'm afraid my resin has kind of yellowed over time, even though it's probably usable. What I am going to do is I'm going to build a floating surface. I think I'm going to use conventional lumber. I'm going to make it 48 inches long, 16 inches tall, and then there's going to be a piece of 3/4 inch plexi. That's going to be, there's going to be a slot routed into the top and into this leg so that the 3/4 inch plexi can sit right in there and act as an invisible leg. Therefore, you have a table that basically looks like it's floating. It's not supported at all. Plexi is like several times clearer than glass. So if it's clean and unscratched, plexi makes a very, almost an invisible surface. I used it with my son to do time lapses, because you can put your camera right up on it and it doesn't affect the camera lens. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. And so right now I'm gonna do a bottom view. Each one of these boxes equals 2 inches. So I think the top width, approximately like that slab I have up there, probably a good width of a coffee table would be enough to like have a cup of coffee and maybe like a dish with snacks on it. So probably keep it simple and make it maybe 16 inches wide, which would be 8 boxes. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. How I'm gonna do this, I haven't yet conceived. I think I'm gonna get some very conventional, like 1x3s. Maybe if I can find some southern yellow pine 1x3s and then mix those with white pine, it'll kind of be a little bit of a contrast. Or I will like stain 1x3s so I can get the two-tone look. That's really what I'm trying to do. Yes. No, I'm attaching, the plexiglass is going to be routed in through the bottom. It's going to sit, ideally it's going to sit loose. So Chardonnay said, am I attaching the plexiglass under the wood or bolting it to the sides? I'm actually not going to attach it at all. The goal here is to actually route in a dry route from the side of from the leg through the top so that the plexi just sits in there, right? And when gravity's on top of it, it sits flat. Now that's real ideal. And if the top is only 1 inch wide, that's going to leave very little to do. So you're actually making me think maybe the top surface should be 1.5 inches or 2 inches thick so that it can be routed into, because when I route into it, it's not going to leave a lot of support wood. So good point, Chardonnay. Let's make a note here. Consider surface depth greater than 1 inch, because 1 inch is probably not going to do it if I'm going to route something in there. But that's an excellent question. That's going to help me get to where I need to get. So now I'm saying 8 boxes wide would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 16 inches wide. I'm doing a bottom view now. Hopefully, you know, we build this in such a way that, like, if you're at home and you wanted to follow along, you could be able to do it. But we would probably have to go back through how to build the router sled, because you probably need the router sled to do this line through. Since the back here is an inch thick. I'm starting to think it needs to be an inch and a half, which would be an inch and a half would be 3/4 of one of these boxes. And then in the center, a 3/4 inch would be 2. 3/4 inches out of 2 is going to be 3. Out of 2. What percentage is 0.75 of 2? I don't have a calculator. Because I need to know what 0.75 is of 2. Oh, I like to use thicker wood, but in this case I think I need a certain thickness to be able to route in this plexiglass leg. If I route into the bottom of the surface and it's only an inch thick, that should still hold. I'm just concerned that I might accidentally, route too deep or something, and maybe the surface will break. I don't want that to happen. The surface is going to be joined together. Probably, oops, I didn't mean to hit the microphone. The surface is going to be joined together, several boards, little slats, and I'm going to show people how to join those boards together. I've done it on other videos. So to answer your question, in this case, I'm looking for an inch thick surface at the least, maybe a little thicker, if possible. Inch thick surface, inch thick leg, and then it's going to be dovetailed to the end. So I'm going to dovetail the back of it where a lot of people would do miter joint on the corner and then do like machine dovetails. I'm going to hand cut the dovetails on that edge, I think. So point. Give me 0.75 of 2. Give me the decimal for 0.75 divided by 0.75 divided by 2. What is that as a decimal? I'm trying to figure out what percentage of this box I would actually shade in here. In the middle, because it's smack in the middle. It's going to be right on this 4th piece, between the 4th and the 5th. It's somewhere around under half, so what, 3/8 or something like that. I don't have a calculator, but so I'm looking for this fraction, or this in a you could do it as a proportion. 0.75 over 2 equals x over 100. That's what I need. You got a calculator in front of you. That's a 7, by the way. 0.75 out of 2. So it's that's 5/8, isn't it? Or is that 3/8? 3/8. Yeah. Some tells me it's 3/8, so I'm gonna have to really kind of. It's just under a half, basically. And how many boxes deep? I gotta get that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 boxes. Yeah, so 0.375 is 3/8, right? Yeah. So that's what I thought. Yeah, as a fraction, 3/8, so just under a half. So the reason I say that is I'm going to show you in a second. 16 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 boxes. Got the length right here. And then just under a half. So I'm going to estimate that a little bit. Let me shade that in. This is plexi that I'm shading here. And it'll probably get, this would be the bottom view here. This is plexi at 3 at approximately 0.375, which is about 3/8. And then it's in the bottom, it's going, what did I say, 36 inches, so 18 squares. And this is the bottom view. Now this is gonna be slats. So if I was gonna illustrate this like accurately, these are gonna look like, you know, some even, some uneven, slats of different kinds of wood. So some are gonna be colored, some are gonna look white. You're gonna have a two-tone, at least a two-tone look. So like stripey look kind of. I have another table I made like this, but somebody owns it, so I can't pull it out. It's gonna look like, you know, kind of like my workbench, but a little more two-tone than that. And then this leg, so this is a bottom view right here. Side view, bottom view, right? You know, I like computer aided design, but like I like drawing things out because it's almost like a mini process of building it. You have to actually build it with the drawing. So we have the bottom view here of a table that is 48 inches long, approximately an inch thick. A leg, it has a plexiglass leg that's 36 inches long. It is 3/4 inch wide, which on here is approximately 3/8 of a box. So 3/4 inch in thickness. That's a thick piece of plexi. It's probably expensive too, so I'm gonna have to figure out how that works. But yeah, basically slats. Slat, put them in a clamp, we like glue them up, and then we're gonna cut them all off with a beam saw once they're joined at a certain point. That cut is gonna be where they're dovetailed on one side, dovetailed to put at a 90-degree angle. If you don't know what dovetails are. See that in there because I'm not on my toes. The corners, just imagine this is the actual leg. Kind of dusty here. This is the actual leg. It's more like I'm gonna put the pins probably up. So the leg will go like this, boom, boom, and that's how it's gonna connect with 2 of these or 3 of these, probably 3 of these on the corner, which will hold tight, and then a leg will go under that. It's just an equivalent of building a box, just one half of a box, basically. That's how I build beds too. I start with a dovetailed box, and I cut my dovetails on the ends. I put the dovetail box together, and then I lay slats in the box by cutting reliefs in there. I made toddler beds this way. I made a king size bed this way, and I made 2 twin beds this way as well. So it works to dovetail things. Even if your dovetails aren't super good, and I'm not, you know, a master craftsman, so my dovetails sometimes leave a little bit to be wanted, so to speak. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Dad's Workshop. All 4 of you. So what we have so far is a waterfall table, floating waterfall table design idea. It's basically an L-shaped. It's gonna have a piece of plexi under it. You guys should probably Google it or look on Pinterest and see some really cool ideas of it. That's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna use a live edge slab though, because I don't have a live edge slab that's long enough to make a decent table. The one I have up there, if I cut that slab 16 inches off that slab to make a leg, it leaves no length for the table. So I can't do that. So I'm gonna use slats here because really the purpose of Dad's Workshop, my YouTube app just crashed. The purpose of Dad's Workshop is to do things with conventional lumber that everyday Joes can do and can go to the store and get these materials. So we're gonna try doing it that way. Looks like maybe my live crashed. Oh no, we're still here. We're still here, so that's good. Let me see if I can make like a little mock-up you can see. Got these ash boards. I'll use these as an example. Approximately 48 inches. So to exemplify what I'm talking about here, I've got these 4 ash boards, which are really pretty. I don't know that I'm going to use these for this project. Actually, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use these. Let's imagine for a second these ash boards are joined at the edges like this, right? What we're going to do is we're going to take 16 inches of this setup. We're going to join these all together, squish. They're all one surface, right? Let's pretend these are the actual boards on the table. Then we're going to take 16 inches of this. So wherever I put my ruler, let's pretend this is 16 inches. We're going to cut it off here, right here. Then once we got 2 different pieces, say we've already joined these together and they're one table surface, cutting it off here, and then this is going to be dovetailed. This will be the pins, this will be the tails. They'll be reattached at a 90-degree angle, and then on the bottom will be routed in an area for plexiglass. And that's basically what it's going to be. This would be, the surface would be something like this, and not a whole lot longer than this probably. Definitely not much wider, because I think we said on our scheme, I've got one cherry board somewhere too. It still like needs to be used. We're saying the length is 48 inches long, and there needs to be another 16 inches. So never mind. So 48 inches. These look like 36-inch long boards. Yeah, these are 36 inches. So actually, this would be approximately the length of just the top of the surface, and then there would be another surface coming off the bottom. So the boards that I use have to be at least 54 inches in length, unless I'm going to cut separate legs off, and that's what I prefer not to do. So yeah, that's the general design principle here. Is a table surface is cut into 2 parts. The ends of that are fabricated into dovetails. Those dovetails join at a 90-degree angle like this, and then a piece of plexi is routed into the bottom. And so when I say these things over and over again, it's so that my videos have value, because a lot of this stuff, as I'm building, I'm not able to say this stuff. So laying it out with design first and kind of talking about the dimensions of this is important. But thank everybody for being here. Appreciate everybody coming to Dad's workshop. A little bit slower night. I probably will wrap up the end of the show by heat gunning this beeswax on the edge of this stump table, because the stump table's got some clumps of beeswax in the bark still. So if Heather's there and she wants to change the description a bit, I'm gonna transition over and pivot over to putting the stump table back on top of the bench, and then once the stump table is up on the bench, I'm going to heat gun the wax on the side of it a little bit, because it's got some clumpiness to it. I've been consulting my complete guide to woodworking, which has some really cool stuff in it. They don't pay me to say that. But yeah, that's our general design idea. So take a screenshot of that. We got some dimensions. If you're a person that wants to do this project, let me put this stuff aside. probably see from there, there are a couple waxy little clumps in the stump, clumps in the stump, clumps in the stump, clumps in the stump. I like Type Bond. I use Type Bond 2 or Type Bond 3, especially for a project where you kind of want a little bit of waterproofness. Like when people put drinks on top of the table, you don't want the joints to be compromised by moisture. So I have a big bottle of Type Bond 2 that's water resistant. They don't pay me to say that, but I'm a big fan of their product. So maybe, hey, if they're watching one of these days, Type Bond can sponsor me, though they probably don't need much sponsorship. They're in every store. So that's why I use a little blue bottle like this, a little ketchup bottle, as not to plug anybody's company without getting properly paid for that. Pivot over to a little bit of heat gunning here. Turn the fan off probably. Actually, no, I'll leave it on. I know this heat gun draws a little bit of power here. Trying to get these little bit of wax out. Probably should get a cloth here. Let me get a little rag. Hopefully you can see as the heat gun gets in there, those little clumps kind of melt out. And you can actually start this stuff on fire doing this, so you want to be careful. Again, a mixture of beeswax and boiled linseed oil, which I cooked and combined at a melted temperature. If that makes sense. Sorry about that, folks. Putting my mic on. Yeah, trying to take these clumps out of the stump here. Kind of good once it stops dripping, you know, just shines up like that. Let me show you like over here. I'm going to turn the table around slightly here. Kind of tricky. Right here, Hard to get the camera right there on that spot. See the clumps of beeswax right there? I'm gonna go after those. That's what I'm talking about. See if I can rotate it a little bit more. It's gonna be tricky because it'll be right on the edge. In that little crevice right there, it likes to start stuff on fire, so I'm trying to be careful. See the smoke? Good. Maybe I flip it onto its top and I could probably get some more spots. There's one right there. And the reason I had to do this was because when I made this combo of linseed oil and beeswax, it came out, the freezing temperature of it is very high. So the problem was that it wanted to solidify immediately upon touching the surface. Just the ambient temperature of the surface was enough to freeze up the mixture. So I figured out that using a heat gun, I could get the mixture to sink in. And that's what I've done. So just me improvising was me using the heat gun. You know, that's what it probably wouldn't have worked otherwise. And there's little lumps. I get them as I go. Oh, I don't have much left. I'm gonna cut it off pretty early tonight. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe with some materials for that waterfall table. I have to think that out a little bit. I wish I had a table saw here, because rip cutting these pieces I don't think is practical. I have to figure out a way to get the thickness I want with conventional lumber. You know, it's these problems that kind of, I think, are what makes my channel special, is that we're working through problems here. I don't have all the answers, you know, like some of the other woodworking channels, dedicated woodworking channels. I don't offer all the answers. I have problems, and we talk about possible solutions, you know, and we work through stuff. Again, just looking for areas where the beeswax has coagulated, basically. Beeswax, waterproofing wax. That's pretty much it for that for today, I think. Looking pretty good. I do like the way that the wax linseed oil combo makes the surface, like, it's shinier than matte, you know, so it brings out some figure in it. This was just a side project we were doing on here. We obviously have the bed, and we have this waterfall table coming up. We have multiple projects that we do here on Dad's Workshop, and we're going to continue to do Dad's Workshop stuff. Linseed and beeswax, you need to make some more. Sure, we could probably make some more beeswax and linseed oil mixture. I'd like to use it on the bed, which would mean a large amount of it, because it makes a nice, like, safe, waterproof surface. It's not paint, you know. We can avoid using paint or petroleum products as much as possible. We can do that. See a little flaking of the bark there. But anyway, appreciate everyone coming to Dad's Workshop tonight on Wednesday. It's really our first night of the week this week, because we will be back tomorrow. And I want to shout out Robert G. Chardonnay. Sorry it's a little bit slower of a night. Maybe I shouldn't apologize, but you know, appreciate everyone being here. If you are here and you're new, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. Join the Discord. Drop a picture of a project you're working on. We're very personal here. We like to respond and talk to everybody. We're a community and we're friends, so we support each other. And most of us are not experts. We're armchair folks that like to do this DIY stuff at home, and that's what we're here to do. We're not here to be experts. We're here to chill and work out projects and work out problems with our projects. So appreciate everybody being here. Remember, this is Dad's Workshop. Click that like button, subscribe. Make sure that you check out the GoFundMe to make donations. Shout out to those people who did that. Chardonnay, appreciate you. Always, everybody else, hug somebody you love. I'll see you back tomorrow on a special Thursday night, and we'll get into this project a little bit more. Bye.